Hello, dear friends. There are many things that cannot be seen but are suffered. Opinion piece, invisible war, divine armor, the belt of truth, the shield of faith, the shoes of peace, the sword of spirit, the helmet of salvation, symbolism of Saint Michael, the breastplate of justice. Let's start. The spiritual warfare refers to a constant struggle that occurs in the invisible world between the forces of good and evil that has an impact on the daily life of humankind. It is based on the belief in evil spirits or demons that intervene in human affairs in various ways for the loss or misguidance of souls. It is a confrontation against the spiritual forces of evil in order to protect and preserve the life and mission of good people. The fight is not against human beings, but against evil spiritual powers. Therefore, it is crucial to use divine armor to endure in times of trouble and stand firm in your hope. Paul states in Ephesians 6:12, in quotes, "Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against the spiritual wickedness in the heavenly places, celestial places, I mean." Divine armor is a biblical concept found in Ephesians 16:18, where Paul of Tarsus exhorts believers to put on spiritual tools to confront the temptation and attacks of the devil. This passage describes armor as a metaphor that symbolizes spiritual protection needed in the fight against evil forces. The components of the divine armor are the belt of truth that helps maintain integrity, the breastplate of justice that protects the heart and symbolizes living according to divine justice, the footwear of peace that reflects the willingness to carry a message of peace and salvation, the shield of faith that protects against doubts and attacks from the evil one, the helmet of salvation that protects the mind of the warrior of light, the sword of the Spirit, which is the only offensive weapon in this armor, used to combat lies and temptation. Concept. Although spiritual warfare is a prominent feature of new charismatic churches, several other Christian denominations and groups have also adopted practices rooted in the concepts of spiritual warfare, with Christian demonology playing a key role in these practices and beliefs, or older traditions of such a concept and related to the new charismatic movement, such as the exorcistic prayers of the various Eastern Orthodox churches. Prayer is a common form of spiritual warfare. Other practices may include exorcism, laying of hands, fasting with prayer, praise and worship, and anointing with oil. Jesus refers to Satan as the prince of this world and triumphed over that evil power, while John the Evangelist said that the whole world is under the control of the evil one. Evangelical interpretations divide history into two ages: the present evil age and the age to come, referring to the second coming. Revelation. Evangelical imagery of spiritual warfare is derived from various parts of the book of Revelation, where the beasts and kings of the earth wage war against God's people after the war in heaven, triggering a final battle of Satan and the earthly nations against God. In 1992, Dr. Ed Murphy wrote a more than 600-page book entitled The Handbook of Spiritual Warfare. Murphy discusses the nature of the conflict, describing the spiritual forces involved and how they affect the lives of believers. A significant portion of the book is devoted to discussing strategies and tactics for meeting the challenges, including prayer and fasting, use of spiritual authority, discernment of spirits, and inner healing and deliverance. The problem of spiritual warfare became the topic of a Christian Medical Association symposium held in 1975. This symposium brought together a wide variety of evangelical scholars in biblical studies, theology, psychology, anthropology, and missiology. Saint Michael, the most notable of the spiritual warfare prayers, is known as the prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel, which is prayed to ask for his protection and help in the struggle against temptations and evil. This prayer has traditionally been prayed at the end of every Mass, a practice that was established by Pope Leo XIII in 1886, although it was suppressed during the liturgical reform of the Second Vatican Council. However, John Paul II recommended the daily practice of this prayer. The symbolism of Saint Michael the Archangel is multifaceted, encompassing aspects of protection, heavenly leadership, divine judgment, and victory over evil. He is depicted as a heavenly warrior, battling against the forces of evil. He is known as the Prince of Heavenly Spirits or head of the heavenly militia. This title symbolizes his authority and leadership among the angels, reflecting his importance in the heavenly hierarchy. This symbolism is reflected in his role as a patron of various protection-related occupations in plural, such as the military, infantry, and police. One of the most common depictions of Saint Michael shows him vanquishing the devil, usually by stomping on him while threatening him with a sword or spear. This symbolism represents the victory of good over evil, a divine protection against evil forces. Full disclosure: if you stand up for nothing, you will fall to anything. You have to know what you are up against. The battle is between good and evil. Waiting for an EBS to come is the same as waiting for someone to save you. No one is going to come save you. You are the one who is saved. Today, egos are running rampant. Everyone wants to be the most informed, the most knowledgeable, the wittiest, the smartest, the seasoned veteran of wokeness. They want you to be delusioned. They want you to be off the grid. They want you to feel insignificant. You must stand up for the truth and speak it. Be the change and create a new paradigm. You have to be prepared to be in the game. You can't play from the sidelines. There are no swingers in heaven. Remember, when 309 politicians, celebrities, and bureaucrats around the world broke or sprained their ankles within a year of Trump being elected, ankle monitors with GPS tracking, this program ended years ago. According to Ariel Prolotario, the new technology waiting in the wings of all humanitarian projects will allow society to welcome new ways of living that will take us out of survival mode, which is the underlying reason for many of the social, geopolitical, and international conflicts. According to New 4chan whistleblower, there are underground facilities all over Western Europe and Eastern US connected by tunnels. These are crucial to off-world operations, with the largest industrial center at the South Pole. There are also secret launch facilities located at the South Pole and in wilderness areas, some of which are camouflaged underwater. Solar storms. Geomagnetic storms are possible over the next 3 days, especially on September 13th, when a full halo flare is expected to hit Earth head on. G1 storms are predicted to occur in September 11 and 12, followed by a G2 storm on the 13th. USA. Oil prices rise after Hurricane Francine. Louisiana residents asked to take shelter and stay put. Generation Zeta Hispanic vote could make the difference in US elections. Donald Trump's social media stock falls to an all-time low after his debate performance. Moderators played partisan tricks and no facts were verified. Trump suggests he won't debate Harris again and attacks ABC for fact-checking moderators. Mark Zuckerberg drops media bombshell on Kamala Harris for censorship. A detective who survived the collapse of the Twin Towers is now giving away houses to families of fallen heroes on 9/11. Kennedy says US doing everything possible to draw Russia and China into a hot war. Western officials admit many African countries are resisting US military presence. BRICS blockchain will be a paradigm shift amid the de-dollarization. Europe. European Union hesitates to sanction Russian gas as imports continue. The European Central Bank is set to cut interest rates just days before the Fed's big decision. Apple must pay €13 billion in taxes to Ireland. Israel's fiscal deficit soars to 8.3% in August due to war spending. Spain. 43% of tenants cannot access home ownership. The price of housing increases by 7.8%, and new housing becomes more expensive by more than 11%. The Cervantes Theatre in London closes due to lack of financial support. Americas. The Mexican Senate approves the reform of the judicial branch. Workers of the Mexican judicial branch will go to international bodies to stop the reform. Heavy flooding in Tamaulipas after Francine passes. The hurricane. August inflation in Argentina remains persistent as people struggle to save. Argentine industry falls 5.4% year-on-year in June and accumulates 14 consecutive months of decline. Argentina seeks to strengthen its cooperation with Russia in educational matters, says ambassador. Argentina calls for the release of an orca that has been in captivity since 1992. Smoke from fires in Bolivia and Brazil reaches several provinces in Argentina. Brazil accounts for 76% of forest fires in South America. Thousands of Brazilians rally to protest against blocking X. Brazil financial market raises GDP growth forecast for 2024 to 2.68%. It has not rained for months in Bolivia, and the drought worsens the drama of forest fires. Rosatom signs agreement with Bolivia to build a lithium carbonate factory. Bolivia's foreign minister says the BRICS are an alternative to face the global crisis. Colombia recognizes the seriousness of the number of murders of environmental leaders. Demonstration in Venezuela to demand the release of political prisoners. The Spanish Congress recognizes Edmundo González Urrutia as president-elect of Venezuela. More than 40 countries asked Venezuela before the Human Rights Council to end the wave of repression. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.